A very good morning to Madam Aris. Today, my group is going to present inflation and the cost of living in Malaysia. This is my group members, and that is me, Muhammad Irfan bin Rifiani. Next one is Daryl Juni Dev. So now I'm going to start with our introduction. So to give an introduction to our topic, inflation rate in Malaysia has recently moderated, but it is still a serious issue and we have to take note about it. And the rise of the cost of living also remains a concern in Malaysia because this economic hardship affects the middle and lower class group. So we as a citizen must focus on these issues and be aware of it. Next is credibility statement will be presented by Daryl.
I will be presenting our credibility statement. Our topic is supported by the Department of Statistics Malaysia, where they have provided graphs and charts that supported our claim. But based on my personal experience, inflation and the rising cost of living has always been a problem to Malaysians. Like me, when I had to go to the store and get necessities for me and my family, I noticed that the price was slightly higher, and that most what do we call subsidized item is also have been greatly reduced, and I think that puts the middle class and the lower class family in a spot where they have to struggle to get basic necessities. Right, now my group member Irfan will be presenting again.
So now we are going to talk about our topic background. So what is inflation? The definition for inflation is an increase in cost of living and the decrease of local currency. And what are the effects of inflation? The first effect is increase in the cost of living. The second one is decrease in the currency value. Next one is the central idea of our topic, which will be our next presenter Daryl to present again.
Alright, so inflation among Malaysians is becoming more serious as the year progresses, and it is important to understand the seriousness of the issue. While inflation may sound bad, it is bad, and inflation can greatly depreciate the value of our currency, which can, how do we say, stop or slow down international trades, and also rise the local price of goods in Malaysia itself. The next, this chart will be presented by Irfan once again.
Okay, moving on to the first chart. So as you can see in the diagram, the percentage in the chart represents for the rate of prices in our the cost of our living. So as you can see, the purple color represents for markets. This is a very obvious things that always change the cost of items, which is our essential stuff that we use like food, so anything that we use in our daily lives. Next is our analysis for this chart. So the first one is cost of living depends on location. So depends on the place you are living, the cost of living also will be different. For example, if you're living in a rural area, in that place there may be only a little bit of shops at there, so the price will be significantly different from cities. Second point is big city equals to higher cost of living. There is I think it is an obvious statement because If you're living in the city, everything is very expensive. So if you're living in the city, of course, everything is expensive. The third one is Malaysia is still quite affordable to live in compared to other country. So based on our research on this uh, segment, we have compared that Malaysia is very affordable because Western countries like USA, their medical cost is very expensive and they need to cover it using insurance. While in Malaysia, we as the resident in Malaysia only pay RM1 for our government hospital. And now we are going to move on to the first graph about inflation and will be presented by Daryl in 1 second.
Alright, so this first graph shows the inflation rate in Malaysia from early 2021 until 2025. As you can see, although it may seem that inflation has been significantly lowered, it is still quite high for Malaysians to endure. As you can see in the latest, on the end of the graph, it is still quite high and is still quite rising. For the graph analysis, in 2021, the inflation rate was to 2.5%, reflecting a recovery from the pandemic-induced economic slowdown. Yes, it is true. While Malaysia was suffering from the pandemic, we were suffering from a high inflation rate. And although, like I said, although it has been lowered, like the second point said, as of January 2025, the inflation rate remained at 1.7%, suggesting continued low inflationary pressures. It is still quite high, and we are still taking effects from the inflation, like high prices and lowered currency value. The line graph was taken from Open Department of Statistics Malaysia. The line graph shows the year-over-year growth in consumer price or inflation rate from 2021 to 2025. So like I said, us Malaysians are greatly suffering from a heightened uh, price of goods and lowered currency value, which would be important to maintain the stability of our economic process. And finally, to the conclusion, we have came up with a solution that we think would greatly improve the way of life here in Malaysia, while also being in a stable flow of inflation. So we think the government should provide more incentives to local businesses to produce more products to handle the increase in demands. We both think that the government should always support these small businesses to maintain a smooth economic flow, so that while we are suffering from inflation, we could also be living comfortably uh, through a lowered price and more subsidized items like oil, rice, and other stuff. The basic necessities, basically. This is our reference where we took our data. Thank you so much, madam.
And madam, before we end our presentation, is there anything you want to ask us?
Oh yes, but please kindly stop the recording button. Stop the
Alright.
recording.